Water, the foundation of all life. Most of our Earth is covered in some form of water. Yet despite this abundance, fresh water for drinking, cleaning, or agriculture is incredibly scarce. Only a tiny percentage is fit for human consumption. And much of that amount has been significantly reduced from short-sighted development and the destruction of water habitats and ecosystems, critical to the water cycle. So for many, clean available drinking water is not guaranteed. And given our ever-expanding population, it is critical that we reverse this paradigm through better investment strategies and sustainable development that includes the water sector. Typical investment strategies often fail to include regional biodiversity and ecosystem services, the primary source of healthy water resources and the foundations of human well-being. Without these considerations, water infrastructure investments such as dams, aquifers, or treatment facilities will continue to fall short in providing adequate water security to the world's growing population. To shift water sector development onto a more sustainable path, this business-as-usual approach must evolve. With only 16% of the planet's land, Latin America and the Caribbean is home to 30% of the world's renewable water resources and 40% of the Earth's biodiversity. This natural wealth, if accounted for and harnessed, provides a tremendous foundation for national well-being, particularly in the water sector. Latin America and the Caribbean's water resources are primarily dependent on its abundant biodiversity and ecosystem services, referred to as natural capital, which together provide vital benefits and wealth to the region's societies and economies. Biodiversity includes all the animals, plants, and microorganisms that assemble into ecosystems, and it is fundamental to the supply of the ecosystem services upon which people and societies rely, such as water. Ecosystem services can include provisioning, regulating, supporting, or cultural services. From a fresh glass of water to a clean breath of humid forest air, neither can be had without maintaining these enormous benefits, generally provided free of charge from natural capital. Additionally, so much of our modern economy depends on available, no-cost ecosystem services. When policymakers don't account for this value in investment planning, they undermine critical natural capital, such as water, leading to failed investments and societies that can't function without these bedrock ecosystems, primarily as the value these ecosystem services bring to local and global economies is estimated in the trillions annually. Alternatively, by incorporating natural capital into investment planning and national policies, nations can catalyze these precious resources, creating opportunities that increase sustainable water sector investment and safeguard societal and economic well-being. For example, New York City found that to provide residents with clean water, it was economically and environmentally advantageous to spend $1 to $1.5 billion on restoring the upstream watershed ecosystems which naturally filtered the water, rather than building an equivalent downstream filtration plant for $6 to $8 billion, illustrating that decision makers can leverage and protect natural capital through science-based investment and informed project planning, maximizing the success of their investments. These healthy ecosystems will also provide other benefits and services to local communities, safeguarding livelihoods, health, security, and environments simultaneously. Therefore, natural capital investments can advance multiple sustainable development goals while creating a competitive advantage for sustainable and climate-resilient development in Latin America and the Caribbean. Unfortunately, development projects, investments, and policies often disregard and degrade natural capital, shifting these huge economic benefits they provide into costs that societies must bear. The loss of ecosystem services translates into negative externalities for economies and lending institutions. Generally, the cost of replacing these natural services and addressing these externalities is very high. Yet in today's investment paradigm, this is often business as usual. Previously, lack of expertise, data, and tools encourage this type of poor planning. Now that we understand these consequences and have the resources to create sustainable wealth and prosperity, we must change our mindset. This requires collaboration across disciplines to understand which ecosystems and what services are being affected. Because despite their significance, the bedrock ecosystems supporting all water supplies are rarely considered in the typical investment paradigm. For far too long, development has overlooked opportunities to capitalize on the competitive advantages of its regional biodiversity and ecosystem services, while ignoring the cost that natural capital loss incurs upon both our societies and the success of our investments. Every policy and development project in Latin America and the Caribbean must answer the question: how will this affect the region's natural capital, particularly in the water sector? And will those effects offset or support investment gains, local and national goals, livelihoods, and national wealth and well-being? If we continue to disregard the natural foundations of our water security while attempting to meet society's water needs, this simply won't be enough. It is how we do so, by making strategic scientific investments in our natural capital, that will determine the quality and sustainability of life in our societies.